We will go ahead and get started. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to join us this evening. Um, we'll start off with Team Honda HRC's Christian Craig. Christian, you finished seventh and ninth at RedBud, sit ninth in the 450 class standings. You want to talk to us a little bit about how RedBud went for you and how you're feeling heading into the kind of final stretch of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a while ago now. I mean, we had that week off and a little break, so it was fun to do that Friday, Monday racing, just to get a different feel of we've never done that outdoors, so that was fun. Results were pretty decent, not the best, but I mean, obviously, I want to be like I'm in that second group, I would say, of from 6 to 10, and then those 1 through 5 are just ahead of me, and so I'm just really trying to like drop a couple seconds just to stay with that 1 through 5. So good starts and running up there with those guys, and that's what I did. So can't be too bummed.
Awesome. And then we'll switch over to Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki's Mitchell Harrison. Mitchell, you finished fifth at the final RedBud, I believe it was, season best for you, ninth in the 250 class. How was your RedBud? How's your season going? And I guess how are things over at the Pro Circuit team?
RedBud 2 was really good. RedBud 1 was a bit chaotic, going down, breaking my bars, and the first moto wasn't too good as well. But yeah, the season's been up and down for me. I've had great rides where I should have been top 5 easily, and then either I fade or I stall the bike, and then there was just good rides overall. So definitely progressing from RedBud 2, and now I feel like I have the speed to really just stay up front and really give it all I have to put in for some podium rides. But the PC whole team is just back behind me and just giving all they have to get me to that number 1 position.
Awesome. And then we will go ahead and switch it over to Monster Energy Star Yamaha Racing's Ty Masterpool. Ty, you obviously have been out early part of the season, came back, made your season debut at RedBud. Overall, I think you probably had to be pretty happy with how things went. Got out front, grabbed some hole shots, led a lot of laps. Do you want to talk to us about what it was like there at RedBud for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome first round back and all that, with only getting released on Tuesday, so it was pretty crazy and stuff. The main thing was just kind of go out there and ride against myself and do the best I could, and yeah, it was awesome getting the whole shot and doing the fist pump. That stuff blew up, and that was awesome. Just can't thank all the fans enough too, and just all that. But yeah, it was awesome being up front and all that stuff.
Awesome. We'll go ahead and open it up for some questions, and we will start with Darkside.
All right, first one's for you, Ty. With having so little time on the bike, but having some pretty good success with hole shots and leading laps, is that more motivation for what's to come, or is it a little bit frustrating that you didn't get to start the season on, like you have in the middle of the season, basically?
That was, I mean, sorry, what was that exactly again?
You've done really well, right? But you had to come in late. So is that more motivation for what's to come, or are you a little disappointed that you didn't start off the season at Loretta's?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't start it off at the Red Lens and stuff. I was doing very good before I broke my leg and stuff, and just kind of, biggest thing right now is just kind of getting back up to speed. Honestly, is just my stamina is not as good. Like, I'm very good. I'm physical off the bike, but physical off the bike is very different than physical on the bike and stuff. You can be in the best shape ever off the bike, but being on the bike is a whole different other thing. So that's kind of just the big thing, just kind of getting back in shape on the bike and do many motos as I can and all that. And just I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to start at the Rettas. And did everything I could try to get back sooner, but just quickest I can make it back was RedBud.
Yeah, it's cool seeing you back. It's cool seeing the personality. You talked about the fist pump and, jumping the leap and the excitement. It's really cool having you back. So I appreciate that. Next question's for Mitchell. You're doing really well also, man. You're killing it in some fantasy points. You've had some really good motos. Do you feel like you've earned your spot now or at least a spot somewhere? And is that a part of the motivation of how you're doing?
I still feel like to be on Monster Energy Pro Circuit, you have to win. And so I think that's going to be what it takes to, be that fifth rider on the team. But, I've turned a lot of people's heads, which I think everybody wrote me off to start the season. So I still got talent. And if there's another spot open, but to be on PC and the factory teams, I need to at least podium and be a contender.
Okay, fair enough. Christian, I know you're enjoying the 450. Rumors are you're going to probably go back to 250. Is that do you want to go back, or would how do you feel about that? Is that going to be hard to do?
Yeah, 450 is nice, especially because I'm a bigger guy. But I could ride any bike. I'm not stressing on wanting to stay on the 450 or whatever. So either one, as long as I'm racing, I'm happy.
I like that attitude, man. All right, that's it.
And we'll go ahead and turn it over to Anton.
Cool. Thanks, boys. Christian, we'll just stay with you. RedBud was good. You were always pretty fast at that track, but I think the biggest thing was you had a lot of good battles with Eli. And I think that's a big statement for you to go with the three-time defending champion. Was that a nice marker for how your pace and how your speed is on the big bike?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think everyone can agree that Eli's not at his best right now. Like, he's unstoppable when he's at his best. So I knew when he was behind me and he really couldn't pass me, I'm like, okay, I know he's not at his best, but I must be doing pretty well. And I was pretty happy with that. But the last moto on Monday, he was catching me pretty quick. I'm like, all right, he's on his roll. He's going to come to the pack. And he came up on me, and he just couldn't, break that 2-second barrier in between us. And it was like that for 4 laps. And I swear we were just, neck and neck for the last 4 laps. And I went into the red zone pretty deep with just, heart rate and just pushing. So, it's cool for me, but I need to expect out of myself more. So that was a good little test right there.
Does that give you confidence then going into these next few races? Hey, I can withstand the pressure from this kind of guy. And then that's got to be something that you'll carry for the rest of your career.
Yeah, for sure. Especially it's the number one behind you. There was a couple of times where some guys passed me, too easily. So I need to make sure it's a little bit harder, I need to kind of make a wider line sometimes and focus forward. So it's tough when they're catching you and you don't know where they're faster. You got to adapt and just try to focus on yourself. So yeah, it's good confidence.
Cool. Last question for you. You're coming to the end of this generation of the Honda CRF 450R. The new one's going to come out next year. What's the testing and the procedures like right now? Are they trying new stuff, or is it you guys know what the base is and let's just stick with what works?
No, we test quite a bit, and it's not like they don't talk about the 21 really. It's trying to make this bike as good as possible. And yeah, there's only 4 races left until the new generation bike, but you wouldn't think so under that tent. It's all about the now and trying to get that suspension better and what they can improve on. And, they translate that to the Japanese and try to, they all want to help, even though it's not really their focus anymore. So it's cool that, they're still trying to make us better. They're not sitting back and just like, hey, deal with this now. And in a couple months, you'll be on your bike,
Cool. Thanks, dude. Second question is for Mitchell. Everybody's going to make a lot about your time in Europe, especially just because over these last few years, we've seen how the MXGP riding style is so different than what the U.S. riding style is. Have you brought a lot of stuff back in your technique from Europe, and has that changed your riding style now, or does it not work so much because so many riders on the American tracks cut lines a different way and everything develops differently?
No, I think being in Europe, it helped my form, my style, just overall riding a tremendous amount. You know, over there, yeah, it's a completely different style, but the tracks are weird. They form differently. They don't groom them as much, and they get really hard packed. So you have to almost have perfect form. And you watch Hurlings, Crowley, Geyser, they stand up so much. And, you know, coming from US, we just sit down and hammer it a lot. I had to learn over there, you can't do that. You have to stand. Yeah. And you just have to have the proper form all the time. So I think that's helped me out a tremendous amount coming back over to the USA, and just overall as a rider, I think Europe has helped me out just so much.
Mm-hmm. I know when you were over there, you stayed in France, so that was more hard pack style tracks and things like that. But they ride a lot of sand over there, and the next two tracks that we're going to, Millville and then WW, are
yeah, in southern France, Sortassigur, we had both actually. We had some deep sand. We could ride on the beaches, and also the mud racing training camp was sand. And then we also went up to Belgium, where it's just a lot of fast guys and really nice sand tracks. So coming up to Millville and to WW, I know they're not the deepest of sand tracks, but I like that sand style, and I think those races are going to be really good for me.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
And we'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mitch.
Rich Kendra from RacerX. Mitchell, my question's for you as well. We had one of these press conferences a couple weeks ago, and Cameron McAdoo said he kind of was feeling a little bit of the pressure of, you know, I'm under the Kawasaki Pro Circuit Team 10. I'm feeling a little bit of pressure. We just saw the news Darian's going to be out now for the rest of the series. Are you feeling a little bit of that pressure yourself? And do you think with him being out now and it's just you and Cameron, is there going to be any more pressure going into this weekend in the last couple rounds?
You know, being on the tent, I think the start of the season, I felt a lot of pressure. I had to prove myself, whether or not this is going to be my last chance. But I really had to switch that thought mid-season to right here, right now. And all I can do is do the best I can in this present moment, do the best I can each race, and give it my all every time. So if I do that, give it my all every time I'm out on the track, I think that there's going to be no pressure and everybody's going to be insanely impressed. So if I can just stay in the present moment, then it's going to be the best thing for me.
And then do you think you're, like you said, going off that last race there, the second RedBud, sorry, do you just feel a little bit of that, you know, does it almost feel like you can take a deep breath and be like, all right, I'm not as, you know, stressed heading into the gate drop as compared to the first races in Michigan? Like, can you notice a big difference?
Yeah, I think the first race in Michigan, you know, is Michigan. I really just wanted to win, and it's hard to win. So I think I almost wanted it too much. I don't know if that's a thing, but and I ended up crashing, and the first day it didn't go well. So, you know, I took a breather that weekend. You know, I relaxed, played some golf, and then came back Monday with a more positive attitude and just relaxed, really. So now I just feel I can run up front. It's obvious now I can run with those guys. You know, I just got to tweak a few things, and it'll just be easier and easier each race.
Awesome. Thanks.
Weege?
Yeah, thanks, Jason from RacerX. I'll stick with you, Mitchell. Coming into the season, did you feel you were 100% fit? Because you ended up having a kind of a forced break because you couldn't get back to Europe. Did you feel as ready as you could, or have you had to race your way into it a little bit?
I believe I've had to race my way into it. It was weird. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't think I was going to go back to Europe, and then I didn't think I was going to race. And my bike was breaking a lot, and to get my parts, it had to come from France. So there was a lot of days I wasn't riding, and but I was training so hard just for whatever was going to come up next. So, but like Ty said, the bike side of training versus just the off the bike side is completely different, and I felt that for a couple weeks coming into the race. So just racing and continuing just doing motos each week, I just feel stronger and stronger. So you typically, I'm the guy who is coming from the back and can charge to the end, but it's been different. I'm more of stronger in the beginning, which is really good. So I just need to connect both of them.
All right. Thanks, Mitchell. I'll switch to you, Ty. I feel like you've been off the radar. There's so many young guys that have come in, but we hadn't seen you ride in a while. And then last year, you actually debuted as a pro at Hangtown instead of maybe racing out your A-class career. So take me through last year first. What made you decide to race all the nationals last year instead of racing A at Loretta's? Because it kind of made you, I guess, a little less profile because you were running, say, 10th every moto last year instead of, say, winning titles at Loretta's. So what was last year's decision? And then we'll talk about this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a team decision, and our decision too is, I kind of did 125s at the Loretta's, and I got on 250s and raced 250s at Mini-O's, and kind of decided right around there I just mainly wanted to go pro just to get experience, and it's a whole different playing field. Amateurs, you're kind of surrounded by like 3-4 fast guys. Pros, it's just so stacked and all that, and just experience of just doing 30-minute motos over and over and over. So it was mainly just to get experience and stuff and all that. I mean, I was small on the 250. I was only on it for like 8 months and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it was mainly just for experience and that stuff. I mean, I think I weighed like 118 pounds or something like that last year. So definitely very light, but yeah, just mainly just mind that good experience and all that stuff.
And I keep hearing people say, oh, Masterpool doesn't want to do Supercross, but you are willing to do it. You told me that at RedBud. So you didn't race Supercross this year, but you're planning on doing it in the future?
Yeah, for sure. It was mainly just kind of the team brought it to me, just get more time to get ready for outdoors and all that stuff. And I actually did a little bit of Supercross training and stuff in the winter time. I went out to California and rode with the boys and did testing out there and stuff too, and felt very comfy with it. Enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, definitely ready for some Supercross.
So what do you feel your improvement is this year, even in the 4 motos you've had? It seems better than last year. Where do you think you've gained in your second year?
I think mainly just kind of speed and just really just getting used to the bike. I mean, 250s, they can be a long time to get used to. I mean, some people kind of jumping on right away and get used to them, but mainly just getting used to the bike and just kind of fading it a little better. I mean, got a little taller and all that stuff, so that stuff helped. But yeah, mainly just kind of the speed and all that stuff.
Are you weighing more than 118 now?
Right around like 125 to 128, so a little more.
Okay, that's still not much.
I got the weight dialed.
What is your training program? Because I know most of the star guys all stay in California and they work with Gareth Swanepoel. Do you do a little bit of that? I know your parents, obviously, they know what they're doing in Texas also. So how do you play all that?
Yeah, I mean, I go out there for testing and stuff. The star guys, they do such a great job out there in testing. So I try and go out there for quite a bit for testing. But yeah, I train out here at our facility and all that stuff.
And can you give us the background? Your parents were in skiing, right? What is the background there?
I mean, it's hard to get out of them. I mean, I barely even hear any stories. I have to beg them to tell me anything. But yeah, I mainly just hear people come over. But yeah, my dad was a Olympic coach for alpine ski racing for many years, and my mom's like a 20-time world titles for snowboarding and skiing and all that. So yeah, they have a good history, and my dad just has a coaching history and all that too.
But no bragging about this.
No, I mean, they won't even tell me anything. I can't get anything out of them for any of that stuff. I just get to friends, and I'm like, I have no idea about any of it. Yeah, they don't tell me anything about their history too much.
That's funny. All right, thanks,
yeah.
Ty. Hey, Christian, I'll switch over to you. You were down a lot in Supercross. It wasn't as consistent, I'm sure, as you wanted to be. So how important is it for you to just get some results and just get checkered flags and all that to just kind of get a baseline here?
Yeah, that was kind of the goal outdoors. Supercross, I missed 2 rounds only, but still it's just like, I think I rode good at like 2 of those rounds, and the rest were just kind of falls or tip overs or just dumb things that shouldn't have happened. So yeah, I mean, like, you could see my results from round 1 at Loretta's till now. They've just slowly been progressing, and that kind of plays in the consistency factor. So just trying to, like, yes, I'm older in the group and I'm on a 450 and stuff, but I'm kind of using this to just, like, I want to be consistent and be there every race and try to improve each time.
And you're technically like a fill-in over there. You're on Ken Roxon's bike. But the one thing I always try to explain to fans are, I mean, do you feel like it's any different? It seems like every rider, if you're under a factory truck, they're giving you everything you've got. So do you feel like you're a guest over there, or do you feel like you would be number 1 A-plus rider? Does it seem any different?
No, like, I've been over there. This is my 3rd time now. So at first, yeah, it felt like a fill-in, and I didn't really know what to or who to talk to or stuff. But now it's like, I feel like I'm part of the team, actually, and it's a good feeling for sure. You're comfortable with talking to the suspension guy or your mechanic and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, it's not a full-time gig like Chase or whatever, but they make you feel at home, so that's good.
And I think you and Chase, you guys used to be pretty tight and riding together a lot. Do you still have that relationship, or had you gone your separate ways and now you're like back together because you're in the same truck? How would you describe all that?
Yeah, he lived with me for like a year when he was amateur, and then he moved down to Florida. And then, yeah, I mean, he's been progressing, and I think we kind of we were at that point where we were battling each other, and he was progressing, and so we weren't hanging out as much or whatever, but we're still friends. We still joke around in the truck, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm like, why did I help this kid so much? Look at him now, It's kind of frustrating. I'm like, dang, I did help that kid a lot when he was an amateur, which is cool to see now. But I'm like, geez, he's came a long way. So, yeah, it's cool.
And my last thing for you, and we've talked about this before, you said, yeah, you had tip overs and stuff at Supercross that you didn't want to have. It always looks like you're riding so smooth and in control. So does that frustrate you more, the fact that it doesn't look like you're riding over the edge, but then stuff still happens? Or in your mind, do you feel like you're riding on the edge?
Yeah, I'll come off and my heart rate's at 200, and they're like, dude, were you even trying? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pushing as hard as I can. They're like, well, you can hit that corner faster. I'm like, really? I feel like I'm pushing, but that's just the way it looks. So, yeah, I've heard you mention that, I'm the smoothest rider, yet I have the most tip overs. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but I feel like if you're not tipping over, you're not really trying or pushing those limits. So, I don't want to fall. I really don't want to, but that happens in the sport sometimes, and it's part of it.
Yeah. So in your head, yeah, you're not cruising. You're on the edge just like everybody else. Yeah.
I feel like I am, at least. It might not look like it, but yeah.
All right. I'm good. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Dan, we'll go ahead and turn over to you now.
Yeah, I'll go over to Ty. Ty, we hadn't seen you in a while. You come out, you whole shot, you hold up the number 1 finger, and you lead for 10 laps. How did that surprise you? I mean, you did get a 4th in the moto last year, but RedBud, so you are quick there. But how surprised were you with how you started?
I mean, yeah, I kind of knew I could get good starts and stuff. Been feeling really good on them and all that. So mainly just did that. But whenever I got out front, I was just trying to focus on myself and just go as fast as I can, but save the most energy, because it was felt like I had a 30-minute moto in me, but it was definitely hard just being on the bike for not even a full week of from being released. So it was mainly just just trying to stay on my own program out there and just ride against myself. And I actually got a little gap there for a little bit, but yeah, just gotta give everybody else props. They're ripping.
Yeah, your speed's been insane. I mean, you qualified, I think, 3rd and then 1st. Is that something that you you ride with people, obviously, and you kind of knew where you were speed-wise, and it's probably why you ended up jumping in. But are you surprised by how your speed's been?
Yeah, just kind of bummed that I didn't make it in the beginning of the season with broke my leg right before the season. Pretty bummed about that, because I was kind of still getting up to race speed. I mean, just training with my brother and stuff, he's over, I mean, just training like my lap times where they were before I got hurt and now what they are, and then comparing them about everyone else. I'm trained kind of, in my speed's still not really there actually, so a little bummed about that, but just mainly just trying to catch up and stuff.
Nice. And for Mitchell, how when you went over to Europe, where did you expect to be? And you were kind of hovering around that top 10. Were you a little bewildered by where you fit in there, and did you think you should have been further up?
Yeah, 100%. I thought I should have been podiums every weekend, you know, grabbing some wins, and it didn't work like that. You know, I went over there, and my first qualifying race, I grabbed the 5th. Got a great start, and honestly, that was the only start I ever got the entire time I was over there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, this pace isn't that bad. So then you don't get starts, which it's unreal how hard it is to come back with no start, because it's not like the US tracks. It's not like multiple lines. A lot of tracks are one lined. So looking back at it now, like for me to come from 25th, 30th to top 10s, a lot of the motos, is actually impressive, but it sucks to do that. So it was super frustrating. And I thought that I should have been up front all the time.
Was there a point where it was really messing with your confidence quite a bit to be where you were over there and wanting to get back here?
You know, I never was like, I want to get back to the US. I need to get back to the US. Like, I loved the racing. I loved being over there. It was just beautiful, and I got to experience so much, but it screws with your confidence for sure. It's like, these guys are insanely fast. Why am I back here? I know what I'm capable of. I've podiumed in the GPs and I've podiumed in the US Nationals. So what's going on? So it was like every week I'm constantly working, trying to get the bike better, trying to get myself better. Is it me? What's going on? But it can really screw with your confidence.
And did you race RedBud? I know you're from Michigan. Did you race RedBud a lot growing up?
I didn't actually. Maybe if there was a qualifier regional, I'd always go for the national.
Yeah.
And then, but no, I grew up at Baja Acres, so I got the Baja Brawl. You put national over there, I'm going 1-1.
Well, your speed was so much better there. I mean, I think you were like 18th and 13th at the first three rounds with two at Loretta's, one at Ironman. Then you were like 7th and 5th at RedBud. Is that just the style track you like? Was there something that just clicked when you got there? What did you do something with the bike? Why were you so much better?
Actually, my dad and I really worked on qualifying the week before. Like, we just brainstormed a bunch. I've always had an issue with qualifying, and it's been extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
So we really sat back and we were like, okay, this is what you need to do. You're a flow rider. Just go out there and just put in laps, and it's crazy how much better it works. So yeah, I've qualified 25th and then put in podium motos. So I always know that I can come back and race well, but when you're qualifying 5th, now your confidence is that much higher.
And I know you're fill-in, and Mitch probably wasn't, had much in the way of expectations with you, but how would you say the team is responding to how you've been so far, and what's your feedback been with how you've done so far this year?
I would say they like me a lot. The feedback, they just say, wow, you're riding so well. You're exceeding our expectations. But that's not what I think. I believe that I'm one of the top riders. I don't believe I'm a fill-in rider. When I got on the team, it wasn't like, oh yeah, you're a fill-in rider, just do the best you can. No, I got on the team. I'm like, okay, I need to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked that they're happy, but this bike's amazing. So I need to put it on the box at least.
Nice. And one for Christian. Christian, you've had 2 6th this year, and you're on the cusp of trying to get into that top 5. What do you think the missing element is, or missing ingredient for you to start battling with those guys in the top 5 and break through up there?
Yeah, it's about a second a lap that I need. I've started up there in 3rd and 4th, and then I'll hold it for a couple laps, and then those guys kind of just, they progressively like get a little bit faster and faster, where I kind of hold that same pace. So I just need to be able to like latch on and take those lines and be able to adapt with them. So we've kind of like, me and my trainer have kind of just like sat there. We're like, yeah, you're right on that cusp of breaking inside the top 5, but you're this much off, you know? So we've been searching to like, what is it? What do I need to work on? What do I need to do to break through into that top 5 and stay with those guys? So yeah, I'm just like through that 6 through 10 group that's right behind those guys. And so, yeah, it gets a little frustrating after a couple of motos when you start up there and then you fall back to that same position. Yeah. So I kind of, I took this week to try to work on those things, and hopefully at Millville we can do that.
Thanks, Chris.
Mitch, we'll go ahead and turn over to Dina.
So Ty, you mentioned about everything with this being your first race back, just trying to get back into the flow of it. You kind of said your legs were pretty tired after Friday. What was the recovery like for you there to be like, hey, this is my first race, but I also have a quick turnaround. But to Monday, what was the 2 days off on Saturday and Sunday like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty first round back, so he's pretty sore and stuff. And yeah, my legs and lower back and, kind of everything was just pretty shot, just because I haven't even really put in like 30-minute motos on like rough tracks or anything yet. Like I didn't do anything. The only really track that I rode with jumps and braking bumps was Tuesday before the race at Paula and stuff with doing testing. So yeah, I was very sore, did like everything I could, try and feel better, like massages and everything. So it was just trying to get recovered, but I felt pretty good on RedBud too, which is kind of helped me I think, to just let the bike work a little bit more and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then some of the guys, they were saying, I'm feeling great entering the day and feeling great, and then the results, not that they were bad, but they were kind of like, you could tell they were feeling a little bit more. Was that kind of the same case for you? You felt I recovered pretty well, and then you got out there and you started riding, and you were like, man, maybe I'm not as good, or I'm not as fully recovered, or what were your, did you think you managed it pretty well then?
If anything, it was kind of opposite. I kind of felt worse off the bike, but whenever I got on it, felt pretty good like that. Just mainly was just trying to make the bike do most of the work and just stay on that and use the least amount of energy. But no, I felt pretty good. Practice was like second practice. I was trying to not even go out there and save my energy. Right, a broken leg, it was insanely sore and all that stuff. So that was the biggest thing. Just my leg was sore just from all the volume of all the work and all that stuff being back. But whenever the motos came around, it was pretty good. I didn't notice it too bad.
Yeah, and then so you had the tip over there, and then Jet kind of, ran into your bike there and went down. We saw you a hole in your leg. Is there anything more to that, or was just kind of when you went down, it was hard, or, as a weekend off help you a little bit with recovery there? Or what was that like?
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of my other leg, actually, just from that, I strained it pretty bad and stuff. And then the last couple of days of training and all this, it just got a little worse. So I actually went to the doctors and figured out I just have a sprained ATF in my left ankle and stuff. So no restrictions or anything, it's just swollen and all that, and still should be good to race this weekend. But yeah, I was pretty bummed for that. Just, just don't want to be known for injury prone, where I truly don't feel like I am known for that. Just all through my whole career, I've never had too many injuries at all. So, and all that. But, the ankle should be good. Just kind of doing everything I can right now to keep the swelling down and all that stuff.
And then so when you guys went down, he kind of looked at you. Was he like, hey, are you okay? Or what? It kind of looked like I don't know if he said something, but it kind of looked like he was like motioning towards you. Is there anything that happened there? Or is he just like, hey, you're all right, or whatever?
Yeah, he just made sure I was all right, and then I kind of had to move a little bit for him to pick up his. Yeah, he just made sure I was all right, and all that, and that was pretty sweet of him.
Yeah, it was fun to watch you youngsters out there battling. So awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Well, I wanted to thank you guys for taking the time to join us this evening, and we will see you all this weekend at Spring Creek.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.